Hi, everybody. This is my third one today. We're going to do K3, which is single variable inequalities in Algebra 1 IXL, and we're going to identify solutions in inequalities. So it looks like they're going to give us an inequality, and then we're supposed to choose the solutions. Now, one of the things I want to mention before we get started is that a lot of times the equations have an infinite number of solutions. Keep in mind that inequalities almost always do. So this particular inequality has the following solutions. And it's really easy to make a mistake in this because it says that z is less than negative 11, which means that we're talking about negative 12. And there was only one to choose. In this case, t is greater than or equal to negative 7, which would be negative 6, negative 5, and negative 3. It is really easy to be tempted to choose the negative 8 because it looks bigger than the 7, but that's not true. These are less negative. That's another way of thinking of them. Or would you rather 06, 05, and 03 than you would 07? And of course, it's better to owe less money. Be careful. Sometimes the variable is not on the left, which can be really confusing. Is 2 greater than or equal to 8? No. A is greater than negative 3. Negative 1 is, because that's the only one. W equals negative 2. Is it a solution? Well, if we divide 38 by negative 2, we get negative 19, which is not greater than 28. Which of the following is a solution to the inequality? So we want it to be 10 plus x to be less than 14. 4 would be equal, 8 would be greater, 5 would be greater, and 3 would be less. 13 is less than 14. We want to divide by n, 9 over n, and get something greater than 1. Notice that 9 over, God, that's ugly, 9 over n is greater than 1. It probably looks a little bit nicer when you write it like this. Negative 3 certainly is not. That's going to give me negative 3 when I divide it. 1 is not greater than 1, but 9 certainly is, and 9 over 1 is greater than 1. And 9 over negative 1 gives you a negative, so that certainly is not greater than 1. So that's the only solution. Got to make sure you eliminate the wrong ones. Now this time, we want W over 3 to be less than 46. Well, I'm going to divide this by 3, and it goes in 39 times. Is 39 less than 46? And it is. 120 over 3 is 40, and that is less than 46. And 63 over 3 is 21, which is less than 46. And 132 divided by 3 is 44, which is less than 46. Look at that. They were all solutions to the inequality. Now in this one, I'm going to go ahead and get it started. If I start solving this, it'll make it a little bit easier. I could just substitute it too, but I would prefer to solve it. I'm going to add 11 to both sides, and I'm going to get 1 is less than v over 130. Oops, dang it, that's ugly. There we go, 130. All I did was add 11 to both sides. Now I'm allowed to leave it like that. I could multiply by 130 on both sides, but I want to avoid multiplying right now. Now they want to know, is 130 a solution? And it's not, because it's not going to be, it'll be equal, not greater than. Another way to do this is to literally write the whole thing out. Negative 10, is that less than 130 over 130 minus 11? And so then we get negative 10, and we're asking, is this true? And this 1 minus 11 is negative 10. And clearly these are equal to one another. One isn't greater than the other, so it's no. In this one, I'm going to add the 9 to both sides, or I could choose not to. But if I don't solve this, you're going to end up with a lot of work on your hands. I think it's easier if I simply add the 9 to both sides so that I get 75 over u. I'm dividing 75 by all these u's, and I want to see which ones will give me something that is less than negative 62. When I add the 9 to both sides, I get negative 62 on that side. Well, if I divide by 3, if I take 75 divided by 3, I get 25. And that is not less than negative 62. When I divide by negative 1, I get negative 75, which is indeed less than negative 62. I'm going to go ahead and do the other two as well. 75 over 5 gives me 15, which is not less than negative 62. And 75 over negative 5 is equal to negative 15, which is not less than negative 62. So the only possibility is this one. In this one, we're going to add 11 to both sides. And I get negative 7w is less than or equal to 55. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to multiply them all by negative 7. Just makes it easier to do the comparison. This is going to be negative 70. If I put w in here, it's going to give me 7. If I put if I put negative 6 in here, I'm going to get positive 42. And if I put 6 in there, I'm going to get negative 42. Let me erase that just for a second here. All right, so now I'm going to choose which ones are less than or equal to positive 55. Negative 70 certainly is. 7 is less than 55. 42 is less than 55. And negative 42 is less than or equal to 55. So they are all true. Okay, I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I get negative 45 is less than or equal to 9u. All I did was add the 2 and add the 2. Those cancel out, and I get negative 45. Now I'm going to multiply these by 9 and see which ones make it true. So if I multiply by 9, I get negative 108. If I multiply negative 2 by 9, I get negative 18. And 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. And 9 times negative 4 is negative 36. Now I want the numbers that are greater than or equal to negative 45. This is greater than negative 45. So is this one, and so is this one. This one is not greater than negative 45. It is much smaller. It is much worse to owe $108 than it is to owe 45. It's another way of thinking about it. You're further from zero. So that's the solutions. The next one, we're going to subtract, let's substitute it in. 4 times 9 plus 4 is less than 22. This is the question. Is this true, yes or no? 36 plus 4 is less than 22. It certainly is not. So this is a big no. Okay, in this one, we're going to add 10 to both sides, and then we're going to multiply by 6 and do the comparison. So basically, I'm partially solving this. 6b, and I'm going to add the 10 to both sides, is less than or equal to 16. So 6b gives me 12. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 11 is 66. And 6 times 10 is 60. And we want to know which one of these is less than or equal to 16. And that would be number 1. You could substitute it in the whole equation. It's just easier to partially solve these. I'm going to subtract 11 on both sides, and I'm going to get 35 is less than or equal to s over 3. I subtracted 11 from both sides, nice and easy. And I get 35 has to be less than or equal to s over 3. Another way to read this is that s over 3 has to be greater than or equal to 35. So I'm going to divide these all by 3. If I divide 72 divided by 3, it goes in 24 times. If I divide 126 by 3, it goes in 42 times. 90 divided by 3 is 30, and 39 divided by 3 is 13. Now I want them to be greater than or equal to 35, which would be this one. Oh, I thought there was another one. Nope. All right, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides so that I get c over 2. And when I subtract 6 from both sides, I get less than 52. And I could do some more work, but I'm just going to divide them by 2. I get 18. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 132 divided by 2 is 66. And 116 divided by 2 is 58. And I want to know which of these is less than 52. And there are 2 of them, this one and that one. That is it. We're getting there. Is 1 a solution? It certainly is not. I can do it in my head. 2 plus 15 over 1, which is 17, is not less than 12. It's not equal to 12 either. This one, we're going to check a -3. A couple of ways to go. I'm just going to go ahead and substitute. So it's supposed to be -54. So be careful. It's really easy to make a mistake here. This is being multiplied first. So this is -9 plus 15 is greater than -54. And that certainly is true. 6 is greater than -54. And it looks like we are done. It's a yes. In this one, we want to check to solve the inequality. So we're going to add -4 to both sides, or subtract 4 if you like. That gives me greater than -8 over x. And we are going to divide all these numbers into -8, which gives us -2, which gives us -4. This one gives us -1. And this last one gives us -8. And we want it to be less than -4. Well, this is the only one that's less than -4. This one is equal, and that one is greater than. So the only possibility is this one. And I'm almost done. We're going to check for 4. Is it a solution? And if I substitute into this, I get 10 minus 2 times 4. By the way, notice if I did not put the b inside parentheses, it would look like 24, wouldn't it? So is 10 minus 8 greater than or equal to 1? And 10 minus 8 is 2. Notice that you must multiply before you can subtract. And this is true. And we're getting there, almost done. G is greater than -10. -3 is greater than -10. -10 is not, it's equal. -2 is greater than -10. That's it. Almost done. We're going to subtract 12 first so that I get 8t is greater than, if I subtract 12 from both sides, I get 58. And we want to compare 8t and see if it's greater than 58. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 10 is 80. And 8 times 7 is 56. And we want the numbers down below here that are greater than 58. 80 is greater than 58. And 64 is greater than 58. 48 and 56 are both smaller, so we're done. And almost there, almost there. And this one, I could substitute. I think I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 10 first and have 11 is greater than 9 times g. And I'm just going to multiply 9 times g each time. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 11 is 99. 9 times 1 is 9. And 9 times 9 is 81. Now we want 11 to be greater than one of these numbers, and 11 is greater than 9. And this one, we're going to add 3 to both sides so that I get rid of this negative 3 here. And I get negative t is less than 6. Now what I'm going to do, be very careful. I wouldn't recommend getting rid of that negative yet, because it's going to be a problem that when you multiply both sides of an inequality by a negative, you have to change the sign. So if you change the sign of both sides, you have to change the sense of the inequality. Probably safer to just take the negative t in each case. So the opposite of negative 6 is 6. The opposite of 12 is negative 6. Negative 12. The opposite of 6 is negative 6, and the opposite of 10 is negative 10. This one is less than 6. This one is less than 6. This one is less than 6, but this one is equal to 6. So this one is out. It's just those 3. And we're almost there. This one is W equals 11, a solution. Of course it's not. 11 is not less than 3. And which of the following make this true? We want it to be greater than negative 9. Negative 4 is greater than negative 9. It's less negative. You can think of it like this. Owing 4 is better than owing 9. Owing 1 is certainly better than owing 9. That's the only 2. And we're almost there. This one I'm going to add 6 to both sides, do a partial solution. It's going to give me 4 is less than negative 24 over s. Now I'm going to substitute the 3 in, and I'm going to get 4 is less than negative 24 over 3. And I want to know, is this true? And it certainly is not. Negative 8 is not greater than 4. So none of these are true. Negative 8 is certainly not greater than 4. So that is a no. And it looks like we get a last one. So we're going to divide by 16. 80 divided by 16 is 5. 16 divided by 16 is 1. 64 divided by 16 is 4. And 32 divided by 16 is 2. And we want to know which of these is greater than 4. And that would be the first one. These are certainly not greater than 4. Almost accidentally picked the wrong one. All right, guys. Good luck with that. Do a partial solution and give it a try. It's not so bad. Have a nice day.